Me, you, and Bryce Harper. Doesn't that sound romantic? Let me explain why you need to draft the players I love on today's action-packed episode of Locked On Fantasy Baseball.
You are Locked On Fantasy Baseball, your daily fantasy baseball podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, fantasy baseball fanatics, and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast, brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, we're your number one source of fantasy baseball knowledge, and thank you for making us your first listen each and every day. I'm your host, Dominic Martino. You can find me on Twitter at DomMartinoFB. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, or any platform that allows 5-star ratings and reviews, we would truly appreciate it if you could do that for us. And you know what? If you do that, take that screenshot, join us over on the Subtext platform, and you'll get a chance to join us in one of our coveted listener leagues for this upcoming season. We're announcing one of the first entries on February 22nd, so stay tuned for that. If you're watching on YouTube and you haven't already, hit that little bell below. It subscribes to the channel and gives you notification every time we drop a new episode. And guys, before we jump into things here, let me talk to you about today's sponsor. It is FanDuel. Make every moment more. New customers, join today and you'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet of $5 or more wins. Visit FanDuel.com/locked-on to get started today. And all right, guys, if you're listening, this episode's coming out late on Valentine's Day. So you know what? If you had a nice romantic night planned with your, loved one, significant other, family member, whoever you celebrate the night with, I hope it was fantastic. So vibing off that sentiment. And I'm talking about players I love going into the 2024 fantasy baseball season, right? And if you can see here, you're watching on the YouTubes, I got the Phillies jersey going on. My brother Matt is out in Philly these days. He is a New York native like myself, though. But I don't know if you guys would expect the way I'm going with this one. I am a Yankee fan at heart, but I'm just a baseball fan overall, so I don't discriminate. But I'm starting off with, a Philly here. I'm starting off with Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper missed, a bit of the year last year, had the Tommy John surgery, but actually came back, I think the fastest in history from the injury. Had a very strong finish to the year. Started off with a little bit of lackluster power. Still was hitting for a bit of average. The numbers overall for Bryce Harper were fantastic. In his age 30 season, Bryce Harper played 126 games, had 457 at-bats with 84 runs, 29 doubles, a triple, 21 homers, 72 RBIs, 11 steals, 80 walks to 119 strikeouts, and a 293 batting average. And I just love Bryce Harper. He's coming off the board as the 21st player overall. So in a 12-man league, you're getting great value. It's a late second-round pick. Bryce Harper picks up that first base eligibility, a position that's not crazy deep. But there's a lot of young and up-and-coming names at first base. I don't mind paying the price for Bryce Harper, though. Who knows? I don't know if they throw him back in the outfield this season. I really don't foresee it. Let's see where I have Bryce ranked at first. I think he's such a cheat code because honestly, I think Bryce Harper's a guy that could hit 40 home runs, steal you almost 20 bags, over 100 runs and RBIs with a very strong batting average. I have Bryce Harper at third in my first base rankings. And, if you want access to Matt and I's rankings, join us on the Subtext platform. Matt and I's rankings are geared towards, 5x5 head-to-head categories. You can use them for Roto. If you got any points-based questions or keeper questions this time of year, once again, get us on that Subtext platform. We're answering all those questions and more. So, make sure you check us out there. But I'm loving on Bryce Harper. I'm loving the ADP. I'm loving the value getting on him. I think, he's going to have another monster season the next year, paying a first-round price for Bryce Harper. Former, two-time MVP. He just gets it done. And, somebody you could just really count on. You could see why in the numbers. Let's move on. But, once again, I said I got the Phillies jersey on. It is a Bryce Harper jersey. But I have another Philly here that I'm talking about next, and it's actually Bryson Stott, Harper's teammate. I'm loving on him this year. I think he's really getting overlooked. I think it was really the prospect fatigue on him last year because he was really hyped up a couple of years ago, came up, didn't really do much. So, everyone, coming off the down year in 2022 for Stott, first year in the bigs, no, not really much was expected from him in 2023. And he really had a strong season, the young Stott, 25 years old, 2023, second full year, 151 games for the young Stott, 585 at-bats, 78 runs, 32 doubles, 2 triples, 15 homers, 62 RBIs, 31 steals, 39 walks to 40 strikeouts, which isn't atrocious, 280 batting average. And Stott is just somebody I'm digging on him. The ADP isn't really bad as I pull it back up here. Last time I checked, I believe it was right around 10. Bryson Stott 11. Pick 110. You're getting a guy in Bryson Stott, 15 homers. Not really a power guy, he doesn't hit the ball crazy hard. The speed is legit. So like I said, I don't think you're gonna see a major surge in power from him, even though I love the 32 doubles and the 15 homers. I think the 15 homers is really tops of what you see. If he goes anywhere between 12 and 18, I think that's the right range for homers and Bryson Stott. But the steals are legit. The 31 steals are super legit. He's got some legs, 88th percentile in sprint speed for the young Bryson Stott. So if he goes, let's say like 14 homers, 40 steals with he's projected to hit sixth in that Phillies lineup if he's there every day hitting behind Bohm, Castellanos, and Harper. A lot of RBI potential for him there. So you're talking maybe 85 RBIs. I could foresee 80 runs. He had 78 last year. So you're talking a line of 80, 14, 85, 40 with, 280 batting average. I think you're getting a steal on Bryson Stott, kind of almost like a Nico Hoerner-ish type player. And look where Nico Hoerner's going. Nico Hoerner's going at pick 60. So, you're talking about 50 picks later, you're getting a guy who will do very similar type stuff. I love waiting on Bryson Stott at second base, and it just really has paid off for me a lot so far early in drafts. Let's move on to this next guy here. I want to talk to you guys about Marcel Ozuna. Now, the big thing here for Ozuna is that he did retain outfield eligibility in Yahoo. I know it's very funny. He didn't get any reps in the outfield last year, but Yahoo was generous enough to give him that eligibility. So you know what? If you're playing on that platform right now, Ozuna is kind of a cheat code. If you're playing in a platform where he's utility only, I could understand your skepticism on drafting him, but he's still a value. Honestly, I really think he's being overlooked. I know he's a little bit older, but honestly, let's just talk about what Ozuna did last year. I know he's getting a little older, age 33 here for Ozuna. Age 32 last year, but once again, monster season for Ozuna last year. Ozuna played 144 games, 530 at-bats, 84 runs, 29 doubles, 40 homers, 100 RBIs, 57 walks, 134 strikeouts, 274 batting average. And do you know where he's coming off the board right now? Pick 138 for Marcel Ozuna. That's the 33rd outfielder. Honestly, I have Marcel Ozuna ranked probably way too high at outfielder. I have him 17th. I know I don't have to draft him there, but honestly, I really think if you're just going off the numbers that Ozuna put up last year, that's kind of where Marcel Ozuna belongs. And I think we're getting a super good value on him. Honestly, I love taking Marcel Ozuna as my third outfielder or, my utility guy. And I think that's strong. You're getting a guy at minimum 30 plus homers, 90 plus RBIs if he's healthy, a career 269 hitter. So I honestly think a 260 plus batting average is not out of question. So if he's contributing really strong in those three categories and you got your steals locked up other spots, what's not to love about Marcel Ozuna this year? But guys, real quick before we move on, and I have a bunch of other names I love for you, couple more bats, and then there's some starting pitchers there too. So you definitely gonna want to stick around for that. I do have a quick ad break for you guys though. And guys, of course, we're talking to you about FanDuel. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same game parlays, exclusive props, and more. Just visit fanduel.com/locked on and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. All right, guys, before we move on, there's, a couple more quick things I got to talk to you about, so I appreciate you, staying locked on with us through this. Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus national sports shows covering every league. So go to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube and subscribe to the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel. And guys, lastly, Matt and I are once again introducing the Locked On Fantasy Baseball Podcast Diamond Club on the Subtext platform, your ultimate fantasy baseball companion. Dive into the offseason with Matt and I as we provide our tiered rankings with over 100 outfielders and starting pitchers, and we're also giving our prospect insights, sleepers, breakouts, and busts. And we're giving out personalized draft grades. When you have those burning questions, we have the answers. As the season unfolds, rely on us for dynamic content. Get real in time alerts right to your phone, including waiver wire rankings, instant call up alerts, injury reactions, and a whole lot more. Stay ahead of your fantasy league by joining the Diamond Club on Subtext, where the path to your victories begin. Subscribe now and elevate your fantasy baseball experience. All right, guys, I appreciate you bearing through that with me, but we're gonna get right back into the action here, and we're spreading the love, man. Today, we're really keeping positive vibes. I know we broke out, the haterade last week on the episode, and there was a lot of negativity. But once again, Valentine's Day, if you're listening to it, on Valentine's Day when it released at night, we appreciate it. But even if it's a day after, you got some stuff coming up on the weekend. I hope it goes well for you and your loved ones. But let's keep things going here. Another outfielder, well, somebody that actually plays outfield. We're talking about Teoscar Hernandez. Another guy that I feel is a little bit, being underrated still. He is moving up draft boards since, the signing with, LA. Pick 126 for Teoscar. That's good for outfielder 29. So you're still getting him as your third outfielder, and just a lot of upside here for Teoscar. Last year, according to Park Factor, Seattle's home park was, the worst park actually to hit in. Really, suppressed power. So I think Teoscar got a little bit robbed. Did still hit 26 home runs last year with 93 RBIs, only 7 steals, but Teoscar is still pretty quick. I honestly think that he'll be able to run a little bit more in LA. The sprint speed is actually 82nd percentile for Teoscar last year. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if he could push double-digit steals. I'm not banking on it, but once again, it wouldn't surprise me. And as your third outfielder, if you can get a guy that has, close to 30 home run potential with, honestly, wouldn't be surprised 90 plus RBIs and 80 plus runs with, Teoscar, career 261 guy, so a career 260 batting average. Honestly, a bargain right now. So buy. Honestly, and Teoscar, outfielder 18 on my ranking. So I'm good with Teoscar as an outfielder 2. And I'm getting him as my outfielder 3. So that's where the love really stems from. Don't think you can go wrong with him this year. Don't really have much else to say, but if you guys aren't locked on to Teoscar yet, well, let's get you on there. Let's move on. One more outfielder, then we're going to get you into those starting pitchers like I was talking about. And, another good outfielder here, Josh Lowe. I feel like the word is getting out on him a little bit more, and, ADP is starting to move up on him. Josh Lowe is up to outfielder 21. So you are taking him as a high-end outfielder too at the moment. So ADP is really starting to catch up because I have him, right around there as well. I actually have Josh Lowe as my outfielder 16. So I'm still loving on him, as far as, I'm actually above ADP on him. But am I really taking him there is the question. Honestly, I might have to start rethinking it. I do love what I saw from him last year, and I think it's legit. As a 25-year-old, Josh Lowe played 135 games, 466 at-bats, 71 runs, 33 doubles, 20 homers, 83 RBIs, 32 steals, and a 292 batting average. He is a former top prospect. So I'm not mad at it. But honestly, I'm the type of guy that, I'm not really, I don't want to talk too much, draft strategy in this episode. We're going to do that as we do our, position previews in those episodes. But when it comes to outfield, I really want two of my first like 4 or 5 picks to be outfielders, right? So with Josh Lowe's ADP still being 91, it's reasonable that if I'm taking him as my 7th, 8th round pick, that I'm getting him as my third outfielder anyway, and I'm really liking how my outfielder, ranking, or my outfielders, are looking in my mock draft so far when I'm taking that type of approach. Josh Lowe's another guy, doesn't hit the ball really super hard. I mean, he barrels it up nicely though, so that helps for a little bit of power, but the sprint speed is super legit. In the Bryson Stop model, I'm not expecting Josh Lowe to go from 20 to 30 home runs or anything like that, but I think the 20 home runs is reasonable. Even if he gets down to 17, 18, that's not going to be bad. But 40 steal upside once again. The batting average, I think, is pretty legit throughout his, minor league career. We did see some ups and downs, but, when it came to 2021 in the minors, 111 games, 291 batting average, 2022 in the minors, in AAA, Josh Lowe, 80 games, 315 batting average. He really figured it out, showed, all that potential that we've seen from him. So I think a 280 batting average with, the 17 plus homers, the 40 plus steals, and Tampa Bay I think will be competitive again like they were last year. Let's see where roster resource has Low projected to hit, because honestly that will say a lot about him as well. But I love the power speed combination from him, and I'm thinking he's going to hit pretty high in that lineup, especially with no more Franco there. Oh yeah, Josh Lowe projected to hit 4th, so I think the RBI is 90 plus with, like I said, good power, good speed. The plate discipline isn't great, so in points leagues, you might want to bump him down a little bit from where I had him. In points leagues, I'd bump him down to around maybe 24. But in categories leagues, he's going to help you everywhere. Honestly, I don't think the runs are going to be bad. I think 75 plus runs. So it's almost like you're really getting 5 pretty strong categories from Josh Lowe. And before we move on and talk about the pitchers that I'm really digging on going into this 2024 fantasy baseball season, I do have one more quick ad for you guys. And guys, we are talking about Gametime. You shouldn't have to worry when you buy tickets to your next big event. That's why you need to check out the Gametime app. Gametime is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you'll have. Using the Gametime app is super rewarding with flash deals, last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, images and views from the exact seats you'll be sitting in, their lowest price guarantee and event cancellation protection, and lastly, their all-in prices show you your total upfront, so you know you're getting a great deal before you check out. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices always guaranteed. Whew. All right, guys. Now let's get into these starting pitchers right before we head out of here. And starting pitchers is kind of Matt and I's thing here. Even though this guy we do disagree on, so I do wish Matt was here to talk about his side of things. But somebody I'm absolutely loving on more and more as the days goes by, and I see myself drafting him in a lot of mock drafts right now, is Bobby Miller of the Los Angeles Dodgers. I know the big thing, that's going on here with Bobby Miller is that the Dodgers are going to go six-man. So we're not really going to see these guys, get a crazy amount of innings this year. But you know what? I think there's going to be injuries in that rotation, and with guys like Paxton and Bueller and just a lot of, uncertainty, Glass now, just guys that we've seen hurt a lot. I think Bobby Miller has been somebody that's been, not crazy hurt in his career. And I think we see him take that jump to the next level. He has 4+ pitches and just really showed, great things down the stretch last year for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Right now, he's coming off the board as the 26th starting pitcher, 86. So in your 12-man leagues, that's reasonable. You're getting him as your starting pitcher 3. I think we are banking on some upside there. I have Bobby Miller ranked as my 22nd starting pitcher, so I still think we're getting value on him. He's 6'5", 220, big baseball body. Was a pretty, fairly high-end prospect coming up. Just his numbers from his rookie year remind me of that Shane McClanahan, kind of high ERA. The whip was actually a lot better than McClanahan's. The FIP was really good too. FIP is fielding independent pitching. It's an ERA indicator, and really showed that the 3.76 ERA was a little bit inflated. 124 innings last year for Miller and 119 strikeouts. But there really is a lot of strikeout upside there in the minors in 2022, 112 innings, 145 strikeouts there for Miller. And like I said, 4 elite pitches. So if he figures out the right way to mix them, and I'm sure he's getting a lot of work right now with the Dodgers pitching coaching, and also guys like I said, you have Bueller there, you have Glass now there, you have Yamamoto who came in, you have Paxton. So that's a lot of experienced veteran pitchers that he can go in there and pick their brain as a 25-year-old. I really truly think Bobby Miller takes a next step. And honestly, next year, if we're talking about this guy as where's Tarek Skubal going again this year, a top 15 pitcher, I wouldn't be surprised if that's what we're talking about for Bobby Miller next year. But let's move on to another starting pitcher that I'm really, really digging on going into 2024. Really, like I said, spreading the love out there today, guys, spreading good vibes. Let's talk about Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray, goes over from the Twins to the Cardinals this offseason. And I know he's getting a little bit older, age 34 right now for Sonny Gray. But I still feel like we know what we're getting. We've seen a lot of Sonny Gray. We've seen almost 1,600 innings in Sonny Gray's career. And it's a career 3.47 ERA. He's right around that K per 9. A career 1.20 whip. But honestly, if you do the last 5 seasons for Sonny Gray, his whip is a 1.14 over that time. So Sonny Gray has matured, kind of aging like fine wine over the, like I said, the last kind of 5 seasons here. Honestly, since he left my New York Yankees, he's just really looked a lot better overall. I know there's a couple down seasons in there, but there's a couple really good ones, including the last two. So I think we're getting really good value on Sonny Gray right now. And like, something, a word I've been using over, this offseason is rotation stabilizer. So 34th starting pitcher off the board for Sonny Gray, pick 113. I feel like I've been able to get him as my 4th, 5th starting pitcher off the board. So I don't know if that 34th starting pitcher, I'm using Fantasy Pros ADP, which takes 5 different, platforms, Yahoo, CBS, ESPN, RT Sports, and NFBC. So, it's interesting to see that it's 34th overall. I'm still not mad at that. You are paying up a little bit, it seems like, but if you can get him as your 4th starting pitcher, I think that's really good, because then if you went a little bit risky at the top, like if you take Bobby Miller with your 3rd starting pitcher, and then you come back with Sonny Gray, it kind of almost evens out a little bit your risk, because you know what you're getting with Sonny Gray. And that Bobby Miller scratch off card, if it winds up you're not paying off, at least you got a guy that is going to give you a good ERA, going to give you almost a K per 9. And the whip, I think, will be, not hurting you, if anything, helping you with Sonny Gray. So, a lot of reasons we love him. And I think going over to the Cardinals, I honestly think it's a good move for him. But let's move on here. Let's talk about somebody I've been eager to talk about. And I don't know how much I've actually talked about him on this podcast because he's kind of been, at the end of, a couple times and kicked off the show. But Christopher Sanchez of the Phillies, right? Kind of, like I said, if you weren't paying attention last year, somebody that, kind of you might be like, okay, Dom, who is this guy? Young starting pitcher for the Phillies, came up last year. Right now, Christopher Sanchez coming off the board, 85th starting pitcher, pick 312. So, 399. I think he's got the inside track for, the rotation. And this is, a time I honestly wish, Matt was here, because I know Matt has a lot of insight, when it comes to Philly. He's got his ear to the ground over there, and, has a couple of sources that might be able to, provide us with some more information. But when I go to roster resource right now, Christopher Sanchez is listed as the 5th starting pitcher in the rotation. So, a lot of reason to, like him right now. You get him as your last pick. I know in the one real draft, I have one real team so far. I've done one legitimate league where I did take Christopher Sanchez as my last starting pitcher. And you know what? I was pretty happy with it. Last year, as a 26-year-old, Christopher Sanchez had a 3.44 ERA in 18 starts for the Phillies, 99 innings, 96 strikeouts, and a 104 whip. And I even want to pull up his game log, because I know down the stretch, I think he went up against the Atlanta Braves twice, and just looked really, really good. For somebody who's still, fairly young, actually right around the prime of their career. It looks like Christopher Sanchez, figured something out. And yeah, I'm right. On September 13th, Christopher Sanchez went up against the Atlanta Braves, 7.1 innings. He did give up 4 runs, but it was only on 1 walk, 8 hits, 10 strikeouts. Looked really, really good, against them. And then he had a game against the Mets. Christopher Sanchez did on September 24th of last year, 7 innings, 2 earned runs, 10 strikeouts. So kind of just looked really, really good. Let's actually, honestly, like I said, I think I read you off his season long numbers. If I didn't, let's actually just once again just run it back for you guys, just to be sure. Oh no, I think I did. I did read those numbers off for you guys. So I honestly think as your last starting pitcher, it's a scratch off. And if Christopher Sanchez is not good, you kind of just cut him and you move on. But there's a lot of reason to think Christopher Sanchez could be somebody who can contribute next year. This upcoming season in 2024. Let's move on. I'm going to give you one last guy really, really quick, because if you listen to the podcast, it's somebody I've talked about a bunch, and want to keep things, tight and short here for you guys today. But it's Bailey Ober, the big 6'9", 260 righty from the Twins. Had a monster season last year in his first full year. Bailey Ober, 3.43 ERA, 26 starts, 144 innings, 146 strikeouts with a 106 whip. And Bailey Ober's ADP right now, I think, is still fairly low. I think it's moving up because I know a lot of people love him. Our buddy Frank Stanfield over at CBS loves him as well. Bailey Ober, 47th starting pitcher off the board, pick 159. I'm taking him there all day long and loving it. Fifth stick starting pitcher for Bailey Ober. You're loving that. And guys, that is all for today. So please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, rate, and review. But guys, until next time, appreciate you guys, and see you.